Hello everyone, and welcome to my weather news channel. Residents of the state of Texas became witnesses of tornadoes, USA. The tornado is the strong whirlwind which is formed in hot weather under well-developed cumulonimbus cloud and extending to the Earth's surface or a reservoir in the form of the huge dark rotating column or a funnel. The whirlwind has vertical, or slightly inclined to the horizon, or rotation axis. Height of a whirlwind is hundreds of meters, in some cases 1 to 2 kilometers, diameter of 10 to 30 m, lifetime, from several minutes to an hour and more. The tornado passes a narrow strip so directly on a meteorological station of considerable strengthening of wind cannot be, but actually in a tornado the speed of wind reaches 20 to 30 meters per second and more. The tornado most often is followed by a downpour and a thunderstorm, sometimes a hail. In the center of a tornado very low pressure is noted owing to what it sucks in himself, everything that meets on the way, and can lift water, the soil, separate objects, constructions, transferring them sometimes to considerable distances. The form of tornadoes can be diverse: a column, a cone, a glass, a barrel, a bicopotomy rope, hourglasses, horns of devil, etc., but most often tornadoes have the form of the rotating trunk, a pipe or the funnel which is hanging down from a maternal cloud. From here and their names, tram in French a pipe and tornado, in Spanish rotating. The reasons of formation of tornadoes are still finally not found out. Tornadoes are formed under powerful cumulonimbus clouds as a result of interaction of very strong ascending and descending streams connected with movements in a cloud. Most often it is formed as follows: from a storm cloud towards the earth the huge, black trunk is stretched, it is funneled extending at the basis of a cloud and narrowed from top to bottom. If trunk reaches the earth's surface, then here it extends again, forming the funnel containing dust, sand or the soil, if the tornado develops over the land, or water, if the tornado passes over the water surface. In the development each tornado goes through 3 stages: formation of an initial funnel from a storm cloud, a whirlwind of the maximum power, when the funnel concerns the earth, and destruction of a whirlwind, when the funnel comes off the earth and rises in a maternal cloud. Duration of each stage is changeable and fluctuates of several minutes till several o'clock. Tornado, the phenomenon which is difficult for predicting. The system of monitoring of tornadoes is based on the system of visual observations by network of stations and posts that practically allows to define only a tornado movement azimuth. The technical means allowing to find sometimes tornadoes are meteorological radars. However, the ordinary radar isn't able to establish tornado existence as the sizes of a tornado are too small. Cases of detection of tornadoes were noted by ordinary radars only in very short distance. The radar can greatly help when tracking a tornado. When on the screen of the radar it is possible to allocate the cloud radio echo connected with a tornado. It is possible for 1-2 hours to warn about tornado approach. In operational work of a number of meteorological services Doppler radars are used. Protection of the population at hurricanes, storms, tornadoes. On the speed of distribution of danger the hurricanes, storms and tornadoes can be carried to extraordinary events with a moderate speed of distribution that allows to carry out a wide complex of precautionary actions as during the period preceding direct threat of emergence and after their emergence, until direct influence. These actions for time are subdivided into 2 groups: preliminary, precautionary, actions and works, the operational protective measures held after the announcement of the adverse forecast just before this hurricane, a storm, a tornado. Preliminary, precautionary, actions and works are carried out with the purpose of prevention of significant damage long before the beginning of impact of a hurricane, a storm and a tornado and can cover a long interval of time. Treat preliminary actions: restriction in land use in areas of frequent passing of hurricanes, storms and tornadoes, restriction in placement of objects with dangerous productions, dismantling of some outdated or fragile buildings and constructions, strengthening of industrial, residential and other buildings and constructions, holding technical actions for reduction of risk of dangerous productions in strong wind, including increase in physical firmness of storages and the equipment with flammable and other dangerous substances, creation of material reserves, training of the population and personnel of rescue services. The most destructive tornadoes also most often occur in the USA. Fujita's scale, Pearson, consisting of 7 categories is developed for characteristic of force of tornadoes in the USA, and the 0, weakest, on wind force coincides with a gale force wind on Beaufort scale. The Madden tornado of 1917 is still considered the longest in terms of its existence. It lasted 7 hours 20 minutes, having passed 500 kilometers during this time. Another long and very destructive tornado was the Three States tornado, which arose on March 18, 1925 and went 350 kilometers across the states of Missouri, Illinois and Indiana in 3.5 hours. Its victims were 695 people, 27 people were seriously injured, losses amounted to about $40 million. The tornado in the city of Shatash in Bangladesh on April 26, 1989 entered the Guinness Book of Records as the most tragic in the history of mankind. Scientific explanations of the mechanism of the occurrence of a tornado are as follows. This is an atmospheric vortex, also called a ring storm. Differences from a hurricane, the scale of the area of action from origin to loss of wind energy, dispersion, varying from tens of meters above the surface of water bodies to 3 kilometers above solid ground. Favorable conditions for appearance are a thunderstorm front with cumulus rain clouds in which it occurs, spreading down to the very surface of the earth or water, depending on the place of origin, in the form of a sleeve, rope, trunk, so the tornado is seen by observers. Inside the tornado, the air masses descend, and outside they rise, which creates a rotation and, as a result, a zone of severe vacuum, whose values inside the tornado, which scientists, for obvious reasons, really want to measure, but it does not work. So high that buildings filled with air under normal atmospheric pressure with closed windows, doors simply explode, losing glazed carpentry at best, but often this leads to more significant destruction as well. This is especially true for buildings built for mortgages made of wooden bars, plywood and plasterboard, which are famous for one-story America, which is not aware of the misadventures of 2 of the 3 piglets from the fairy tale. The speed of air inside the tornado determined by scientists from indirect observations can reach terrifying values, up to 1,300 kilometers per hour. The tornado is inextricable from the cloud that gave birth to it, and moves with it. The length of the tornado is different, directly depends on the energy reserve of the thunderstorm front, meteorological conditions along the route, varying from several tens to hundreds of kilometers with a zone of strong, sometimes continuous, destruction hundreds of meters wide. The common tornado should not be confused with dusty/sandy vortices/storms, since the mechanism of origin, development of these natural phenomena is different, despite the external similarity. Tornado types. Tornadoes can vary in shape. They come in the form of a cone, a barrel, even a glass. They also notice tornadoes in the form of a horn, hourglass and cords in constant motion. Despite the variety of shapes, tornadoes usually look like a funnel that absorbs everything in its path. In spring and summer, the air temperature around is stable, maintained for several weeks at fairly high levels. It is in such places that tornadoes occur much more often. In winter and autumn, they are noticed less often. May and June are considered the most active months. Then a tornado occurs in the afternoon and evening in severe thunderstorms and heavy rains. At night, tornadoes practically do not occur. There is only one thing to save from the storm, to hide in underground shelters. Since a tornado is mainly a terrestrial phenomenon, it will be much safer underground than on its surface. People go to dungeons, subways, basements and garages. In cases where the storm is not raging very much, you can save yourself in fortified brick buildings. As such, storms do not have a classification, but they are often divided into 2 main groups. 6 flood pa vortex. Streaming is called phenomena with a small diameter, do not carry any particular problems and disperse quite quickly. Vortex storms, in turn, have three more divisions: snow, squall and dust. As their name goes, snowstorms form in winter or in snowy regions. Sandstorms are also consistent with their name and occur in places with large amounts of sand, such as deserts. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to stay up to date on the most important weather events.